What's going on, everyone? Today is Wednesday, September 6th. We are going to be giving you our midweek review on where the markets are currently at, where they might be trading before the weekends. We had some news this morning, and we have some news tomorrow. So if you've been keeping up with the tasks, hopefully you had a trade this morning. If not, obviously tomorrow is still open. But for the most part, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to do DXY. Henry does ES. So for the most part, weekly, we pushed up into the buy side liquidity I was talking to you guys about on Sunday. Really going to be key to see where this closes this week. So I am relatively neutral on this to wait for the closure. But we did take the buy side. If we go higher, I'm looking at the consequent encroachment of the breaker block. But if we do go lower, I'm currently just looking for the consequent encroachment of this wick, or excuse me, the threshold, whatever you would call it. Right, so either we pull back down into here, then we reevaluate, or we continue to go higher. That's something that I'm looking for on a daily. As you can see, we've already ran through the buy side liquidity. We are back into this kind of reclaimed SIBI inverse BISI right over here. Obviously, there's buy side at the consequent encroachment of it. And you can see that the consequent encroachment of that weekly wick kind of sits right below this BISI. One thing I would look for potentially is just watch these areas potentially. If price does decide to go higher, and if not, look for potential inversions in them as we go to end the week. But like I said, price could range for the most part in and out of this bottom half of this overall monthly weekly breaker and end up kind of closing right at or near it. So I'm curious to see where we close at the end of it. Obviously, I'm looking at this swing low right here with regards to current market structure on the daily. Whether or not we hold this high for the rest of the week, and if price for whatever reason fails to go higher or barely rejects it, I'd be looking to see price maybe push back obviously into this level and into this level. Aside from that, that's about it. Obviously, you guys, I would use this as a down closure, 3 down closure candles in the form of an order block. Use the mean threshold of it. Look at that. That kind of lines up in between this BISI and this consequent encroachment as well. And like I said, if we're going to be consistent with the idea that if this breaker is still intact, we want to be able to break this structure, right? If we fill this, we still have the idea that we could potentially go higher, right? That could still happen. So we have to kind of monitor where and how we form a swing point coming into this price range right here. So I am relatively neutral. There's not one that I love There's not one that I love more than the other, but we are on a weekly and monthly kind of higher time frame right here, so do not forget. And there's also liquidity that's been taken. So whether or not you're bearish or not, I think a retracement at least into this range, if not by the end of this week, if not early next week, is viable to see. So keep on the lookout for that. Other than that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Henry. You're muted, Henry. There you go.
All right. So moving into ES here, kind of sitting at a neutral point on ES. I'm leaning slightly toward more bullishness just because if we look at the NASDAQ, we can see the bullish structure that we're seeing here with this displacement up through the highs right here, trading back down into this order block, and then closing today above this BISI right here on the NASDAQ. So if we go into ES, we can see that last week we traded back up into this old weekly BISI, and then just above that into that that inefficiency that I talked about a couple weeks ago, this weekly SIBI up here, tapped into there, and then coming into this week, we've shifted lower off of there. Here on the daily, today we saw price move through Monday and Tuesday's low down into this bullish order block right here, with price closing right there at the opening price of the order block. We do have a little bit of a gap opening lower, so it'll be interesting to see how we kind of play in the after hours. If we want to move back up to fill that gap and potentially move back lower. But just looking at where we are in the range, It's kind of a neutral point in the range because if we look here, we've just turned up into a premium and then dropping back down into a discount. If we look at this dealing range here, making the move off below after purging sell side, and we did just reach into a discount today, also tapping right into the high of this old city right here as well. So kind of sitting at a neutral point, just going into the rest of the week, pay attention to your previous day's highs and lows, right? Here, and then looking for how your discount arrays respond in this area and your premium arrays up in here. Given that we are at a neutral point, you want to make sure you've got nice confluence behind your trades and focus on that higher time frame. So go into your 4-hour and your 1-hour charts and look for your what's potentially setting up to be your draw on liquidity at those levels. The only thing looking at the downside here I see is there's a small VISI left here between this candle's high and this candle's low, right in there, which aligns nicely with the mean threshold of the order block right there. So if we do get closure below this level, then I would shift to start looking toward these lows down here. As long as we remain above that, then we could potentially trade back up into this area and continue looking for a buy side, especially if the NASDAQ remains bullish and continues looking up here as well. So again, just sitting at kind of a neutral point, watch for how we respond to previous days' highs and lows, keep those marked on your chart, and yeah, just give yourself a chance to see how the day develops as we look into the rest of the week. Remember, you don't always have to have a trade on. It's fine to go in with a neutral bias and just look for to let price action develop a bit and get a better idea of where things could potentially go. Any other notes here on this one, Carson?
Nope, I'm good. Same time, same place, Sunday, 10 a.m. We'll see you there. End the week safe if you guys decide to continue to trade, and if not, either way, hope you have a good end of the week going into the end of the week. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.